Just when I thought Xbox Game Pass could not get any cooler, they buy Activision Blizzard for $70 billion. 68.7 to be exact. This means Xbox exclusively is going to own Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Diablo, Overwatch, the entirety of Activision's catalog since they did their Atari days. From what I understand, this is the biggest acquisition in gaming history, and a lot of people don't know whether they should be excited or not, myself included. There's a lot to think about this. Now, Microsoft is notoriously bad at buying companies and running them and making money from them. They have had a few successes, but they also have a lot of failures. Just look at Skype. They spent $8 billion on Skype. Now that stuff's like just built into your phone. It's free on everything. Man, they dropped the ball with Skype. They bought Mixer, and like in less than a year, they sold it off because they couldn't pull it off. In the business world, Microsoft is known for messing things up. But in the gaming world, Xbox has always done pretty good, especially with this whole Xbox Game Pass thing. They have completely turned themselves around because Xbox is kind of meh, but they have a lot of, it has its place in the gaming world. It's notorious, but it's never made the biggest waves. Now they're going to be like the biggest gaming company of all time because they're not trying to be a console company anymore. That's just like a little bonus to the whole ecosystem that is Xbox. They're trying to be the metaverse of games. You want every game that you could possibly ever want? $15 a month, you've got it. I was blown away back when they bought Bethesda and got that entire catalog, and that actually went through pretty quickly. All the Bethesda IP, bam, Xbox Game Pass, easy peasy. But now they bought Activision Blizzard. Does that mean that we're gonna get Call of Duty like day one every year with new releases if you just have Game Pass? And then like Sony PlayStation people, they're gonna have to buy it. This also means that Microsoft is gonna actually own a lot of the big esports ecosystems. Overwatch League, pretty much dead. Call of Duty League, they're having the issues. There's a bunch of others. I'm not that big in the esports, but they're basically like dominating owning of all the games that are esports, which is insane. I remember back when Microsoft bought Minecraft, and I thought that was pretty crazy. I'm like, damn, they spent $2 billion on Minecraft. Years later, look what they've done with it. They've totally made their money back, and I think they're expecting with this $70 billion acquisition to make their money back pretty quickly, relatively, in the grand scheme of things with these massive corporations. Now, I do want to talk about timing here. This is such a big acquisition, and it requires global law. So this is going to take a couple years to go through. Not a lot of people know this about me. I don't talk about it often, but I do have business experience. I've sold a couple companies before I became a content creator for you guys. I know. It's like I went backwards, right? I went and did the big dick things, and then I went back and did like this stuff. But I mean, if you think about it, it makes sense. Anyways, off topic. When I was trying to sell my last company, the guy that I ended up selling it to, it took a year just to get him to buy it. Here's the thing with selling companies. There's a thing called due diligence. And this guy just, like, my books were messed up. And he tore them apart. He's super smart, dude. Tore my books apart. And we had to get a lot of our ducks in a row and make everything make sense. My last company is way smaller than something that's worth $70 billion. I'm like a little speck. So I can only imagine all the work that has to go into their due diligence. If I had to guess, it's going to take at least a couple years for this to actually finalize. And there's a lot of things that can go wrong in the meantime. And I think this is a good point to segue into the issues surrounding the publicity around Activision Blizzard. We all know a lot of the stuff surrounding the CEO, Bobby. But when you think about it, it's such a big, massive deal. It's so much money being spent that all of those issues are actually not an issue. They just work around it because the money is so much bigger and more important. Kind of funny how that works. When there's enough money, you really can just like get away with anything. This CEO is gonna walk away with like $200-300 million from this contract. And he probably doesn't even have to stay if he doesn't want to. Usually what happens when you sell a company is that the people that ran it before it got bought have to stay there and help transition into the new leadership and stuff. So there's the most possibility of success with the new owners. But with this guy and how much power he has over Activision, our friend Bobby, if he doesn't want to work there after this sale, he doesn't have to. And he probably won't want to because he just wants to be away with it and not cause any issues with his existence there because of all the controversies. So let's go back to the question is this a good thing or a bad thing or somewhere in between? We don't really know. We have to wait to see what happens with it. We need it to finish, which I said is going to take a couple years. but we could speculate. I think for consumers, this has a massive potential to be awesome because you can spend way less money on video games and have more video games. I think that's super sick. You don't get to own like a license of the games or whatever, but you don't really even own a license of the games when you buy them digitally anyways. So this is just a good evolution of buying things digitally. You could just own it for as long as you need. And if you ever really wanted to buy it, you could just get it on sale years later. Xbox Game Pass has allowed me to play so many AAA games or indie games that I would never have bought before just because there's so many of them and the prices stack up. But when you could spend 10 to 15 bucks a month and have all the games you can possibly imagine, then you start to try a lot of things because you want to get your money's worth. Xbox Game Pass is amazing. I'm looking forward to like the new Elder Scrolls releasing on it. There's that Starfield game that's going to release on it. That Bethesda purchase. Now we have this Activision purchase, and I'm just wondering if like Diablo, Call of Duty, all these upcoming IPs that are going to be coming out, are we going to get those just by having Game Pass? Just make sure that you realize that this is going to take a couple years to take in effect, so don't expect anything right away. I think a lot of the people making videos about this and writing articles and blah, blah, blah. Everyone's talking about what's going to happen right now, but it's going to take a long time for a lot of this stuff to take effect. Due diligence, my friends, due diligence. It takes forever. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for sitting with me through another one of these videos. I love you all. Appreciate ya. See you in the next one.